Well, just to give some background, basically, I would help like lots of local bands like promote
Okay.
their shows and stuff in the area. And
Is there much of a like because local music scene seems to me like you and four other guys occasionally.
well, there were like maybe, 3 or 4 bands in the area here, and one of them was called Yuko, and they were like really good friends, and I helped them like promote their shows, and I would like sign up to be on the street teams of like several
Okay.
like bigger bands, like national bands or international bands. And when I started college, I signed up to be in college radio, and
Okay.
they needed funds to get an antenna so it could broadcast, its shows outside of the actual building.
Mm-hmm.
I think they still don't have it to this day, but at least we had tried, and they basically asked me to help set up some local shows like in the CJEP, and everyone was telling me like I was in Saint Jérôme, and everyone was telling me like, oh, the scene is dead here. No one goes to local shows anymore, and I was so determined. I basically plastered the entire city, and those shows were all packed. So no one had seen anything like that. So I was like, maybe I have a drive and some kind of talent. I would hope to, to promote shows. And that's when I really wanted to do something here in my hometown, because when I was a kid, they had these big parties for the Quebec national holiday, Saint Jean Baptiste.
Okay.
And they did it at the marina here in Montebello. And I just remember being a kid and going there, and it was by the river, and fireworks, and the beginning of the summer. And I don't know, I guess it stuck with me, and I always felt like it would be amazing to do something like that here, but for rock music, instead of like traditional Quebec music, whatever.
Right.
So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to start it. The other reason was, I had started my own band, Deadly Apples, and at that point,
Wait, Deadly Apple's been around since you were 17?
yeah, basically in high school, but that's like the older version of the band. Like,
Sure.
like I was like with musicians that could barely play.
Right.
And, we were like super amateur, and so obviously no one wanted to book us because we sucked. and that was part of the reason why.
If only you knew a promoter.
Yeah. So that's what I figured. Like, I'm just gonna start my own festival and book my own band.
Book your own band.
And Deadly Apples was the first band to play the first Rockfest. So I opened my own festival the first year, which is pretty cool. So
Who was the headliner the first year?
it was Grumskunk,
Okay.
the band that's pretty well known in Quebec.
Okay.
And it was just 3 bands: Grumskunk, Yuko that I mentioned earlier, and Deadly Apples. That was it.
3 bands.
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
Talk to me about that show. How do you know what your gate count was?
we had 500 people, which was already pretty good
It's still
for
pretty.
Montebello,
Yeah.
considering the population is 900.
Yeah.
But initially it was supposed to be in 2004, the first year, but then I just figured like I needed more time, and
Okay.
so I ended up doing it in 2005, the first year. And I just went to see a guy named Pierre Bertrand, who was actually a city councilor, and he actually still is, and he was a mayor for some years as well. And I just knocked on his door and was like, hey, I'm told you're the guy, if I want to rent, it used to be like a baseball field over
Sure.
there. And he came to show me like the little restaurant there, and how where the power was,
Right.
and all those things. And it just kind of started there. And
What was the big lesson you took out of that first one?
well, something crazy happened that first year. Like right before we opened doors, there was like a massive storm that just hit Montebello, and it was literally like a mini tornado of some kind.
Okay.
Like I had never seen anything like that, and
Right.
I've never seen anything like it since. But literally, like it destroyed the entire field. Like, we had like signage, it all like went away in the wind.
This is your first festival and you're a 17-year-old kid, and God goes, no, fuck you.
Yeah, and, the equipment was like full of water, and so we had like to push back everything. An hour later, we had like blowers for leaves that we used to like try to dry the stage and stuff. Everyone just kind of got together and tried to like fix everything and get some new equipment, because I guess some of the sound and lights were filled with water,
right?
We just made the show happen, but it came very close to not happening that very first year.
Don't forget, you can subscribe to our full audio episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you find your audio podcasts. The full episodes, highlights, and our live off-the-floor performance videos can be found at our YouTube channel, and you can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at the AVB Podcast. Of course, you'll find links to our incredible sponsors and this week's guest in the description below. The AVB Podcast is part of the Border City Network. Find more great content at bordercitynetwork.com. See you next time, folks. Bye-bye.